What are your qualifications?
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? You think I'm qualified?
Quit picking your nose, Clark. Let's go. Look alive. Coming to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now is the time where myself and Jim are going to speak. Ta-da-da!
Well, wait. Where's Jim? You're not Jim.
I'm not Jim.
Jim is out working on a special project that we are not disclosed to announce right now.
No, we are not.
But we wish him well on this project, and I'm excited to hear from him when he gets back. But my new co-host today is the one and only Emily Fox. You didn't tie him up, did you, to take his spot?
No, I did not.
Okay.
He had to convince me to do that. Like, you could talk for me. What? No? Okay.
I'm happy to have you as my co-host today. And then also we have another special guest. We got Lenni Uitto. Lenni, thank you for coming on the 7th episode. No, 6th. This is the 6th episode of the Movie Hour. I'm getting confused. The 6th episode of the Movie Hour. So you're very special in our minds.
Nice.
Well,
good to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And then also our new producer. She's pushing buttons. She's a recent graduate from college and is my little sister, Tambi.
Sadly, I'm not Steve.
No, Steve has not made his appearance yet, and he won't make his appearance.
No, Steve's not allowed.
He's got a life and kids and makes a lot of money.
He's got a successful career.
Yeah, he doesn't have to
here.
bother. He doesn't have to bother us in this studio. But Tambi, thank you for pushing buttons and making sure the cameras are all lined up.
Yep,
push buttons. Are the cameras lined up?
I hope so.
Okay. Tambi and I moved today, or 2 days ago. Sunday, we moved to Cottonwood, so a big move from Tambi from Logan to Cottonwood Heights. So it's been quite the journey. Tambi, how are you taking this adulthood life so far?
Not great.
Yeah.
Right now I'm fine.
Internally.
Externally, I'm fine. Come back to me tomorrow. It changes every day.
All right.
Right now I'm fine. I'm great.
Right. Lenni, we got talking before this started a little bit. We had some time just to chit chat and just get to know each other a little bit.
Yep.
You and I both come from the branch of the acting coach of Jim Stevens. I didn't know that you were a lot more successful than I ever was.
I suppose you could say that.
So when did you start?
About 3 years ago, I started doing acting in Jim's class.
Were you always interested in theater, or did you kind of just move to Utah? And
I think I've always loved movies, and that's kind of where that interest in acting came from. I was originally just playing around with my camera in the woods while camping before I took his class, and then after I took his class, I kind of started making my own films as well.
All right, and you're not originally from Utah, right?
No, I'm not. I'm actually from California.
Okay, so you moved to Utah when?
About 9 or 10 years ago, I think.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So you're from Utah, and essentially you lived here for a little while, and now you're getting into this acting thing. What's it like being an actor, starting off fairly new into the industry? What's it been like for you as an actor here in Utah?
I think it's very intimidating when you start out.
Yeah.
Anyone will say that. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to feel. It's not so much about the intellectual side of things. It's about being one with your body, I guess, and one in the moment. And so learning that myself, I actually came from a software engineering career, and I got a degree in that and stuff, which is very systematic and not creative. At least Tambi? I don't think of it as that.
You don't have to do things in your degree.
Yeah. So, just learning to be more in the moment and present with people and and just connecting with them better. That's something you learn as an actor. And so, yeah. I mean, learning to tap into emotion and stuff and kind of like give words emotion that you never had an experience with. That's also a part of it. But I mean, you kind of have to just take that leap and figure it out. That's
and see, about 3 weeks ago, we had Tua Kiloha in the studio, and
Tua's awesome.
He was great, and I loved getting to know him. And before then, I did my research a little bit on who he was and the TV shows that he's been in and the stuff he's produced and directed. And I stumbled across Samoan Gold, episodes 1, 2, and 3. Kind of binge watched them all in one sitting. And
Nice.
I remember this big Russian guy in Samoan Gold.
So you met Vlad. Very good.
Yes. And Vlad was I think of all the Russians, I think he was my favorite. The kind of head Russian was
Right.
he was kind of a character which I don't know the names. I feel bad. I just knew Vlad's name.
Well, his name was Dmitry.
Of course. I think that's like the two stereotypical
Russian
Russian names you could possibly ever get, with Vlad and
Dmitry.
How did you get into that?
So you kind of have to go back to when me and Tua met. We actually met on Small Town Crime. I was a featured extra on that. I hadn't started acting, and Tua was also, so it was a bouncer role, and we were bouncers, and we were throwing John Hawks. And I also met Jim's brother, David Stevens, on there as well.
Okay.
But that's where I met Tua, and we didn't initially do anything after that, but I ran into him again while he was over at his agent's office, and I was like, hey, Tua. And then like we kind of connected there, and we started shooting some stuff together, and things have just kind of gone from there. And we've actually been working quite a bit together. And so
were you in Dear Lord 1, like the first short film, or did you come in 2? I can't remember.
Oh, you mean Simone Gold?
Yes, sorry.
Simone Gold. I
one.
was in the first one. That's where it started with Simone Gold 1, and I was just I was Vlad, and then after that, he comes back again, and he's kind of trying to kill the Samoans because they gave him. Oh, I don't want to spoil it, but
he gave him.
They gave him some gold, quote unquote,
false fools.
Yeah, and then the third one kind of goes like even crazier.
So when I was talking
series,
with,
so it's really crazy though.
With
it's enjoyable,
Tua,
though.
I was when I was talking with Tua, it was really cool to see the progression of the show. It's technically a short film, but Amazon puts it on like it's a TV show, so that's why I say it as that. And I enjoyed the fact that the first 2 episodes are relatively smaller, like 15 to 20 minutes each episode, and then the third one it jumps to 30 minutes. Did you guys get like more of a production there that you were able to kind of go for the full 30 minutes, or did something like change, or you just kind of like...
I think it was just the fact that there was the story that was being told was that size and that like magnitude, because there were lots of people on set.
There's like the very end of the show, I was really upset that when Tua said he had to put it on the back burners because he was focusing on Dear Lord. So I was like, I want to see what happens in the next installment of this short.
I believe he's got plans to come back to it.
I'm excited.
He's
what he told me.
He's exploring some other projects, and then he'll be back at it. So it just takes a little bit of time.
When your career's blowing up like his, it's kind of
right.
So
he's been busy too.
He has been.
He also directed a movie that you were in recently, Dear Lord.
Dear Lord.
The screening of it was absolutely bonkers from all the photos. I was unable to go. I had work, unfortunately. But from what I understand, were you there? Did you
I was there, yeah.
Okay, what was that environment like?
I was actually quite blown away with the amount of people that showed up. There were like over 450 people or so, maybe close to 500. Lots of people.
Yeah, it's like, because I lived right around that area at the time, and the Valley Fair Mall is a fairly big mall theater, and you guys, from what the picture said, you had a pretty decent sized crowd as for like a normal weekend for a big budget movie. Yep. That's probably what you'd see at a normal theater, and I was really happy for it. I was really looking forward to see if the community would come out for it. What does it mean for this movie that it was supported like that? Does it kind of help you guys go to the theaters?
So part of that was for Stack Strong. There was that hashtag that was going around that was for a friend of his friend's son had an injury, and he was doing therapy and stuff to get better. And the money that they generated, part of that went to help pay for that stuff. And so in that sense, I think it really did something good for someone that was in need. For Dear Lord, it definitely it opens up more people to what we're doing. So all those people that watch that, if they enjoyed that, that means they possibly can come check out the next thing that Tua does, or and that's kind of what you have to do. I mean, you don't actually, it's hard to get that initial audience.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And that leads me to what we're talking about a lot about what Tua's doing. What are you doing these days? You kind of talking to me a little bit like what you're working on and projects that you're excited about.
I'm doing a post-apocalyptic series. It started out as a short film, and then I did 2 other episodes, and then I'm on my 4th one now, and slowly telling this story of this post-apocalyptic world. Can you talk about where it is and what's it called and where we can find it? Or is it's on Amazon Prime. Okay. So if you got Prime, you can watch it for free. It's called WROL. If you just type in WROL in the search, it'll pop up. And there's 4 episodes there. The 4th one is about 20 minutes. The others are about 7, 8, 6 minutes. So the others are short. And then, yeah.
So how does one go about getting their shows on Amazon? Because
it's not actually that complicated. You have to you have to have posters, because that's what they need artwork for their platform. Yeah. So if you've got the right size posters, you've got descriptions, and you got basically you've filled out their forms, and you've told them, hey, I'm this person. I either have a business or this is how you're going to pay me. Mm-hmm. Because they do pay I think it's 6 cents every 60 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Which is so small. So small.
Unless
you get lots of people, then it actually turns into some nice money.
What we'll do for you is we'll just have my Xbox going nonstop. And Tambi's at home all the time, so she can just hit resume and just keep going.
There you go.
I'm not offended by that.
It's I think Amazon's nice because it's a platform. So you have YouTube, which is really easy to get on. You just upload your file and it goes there. Amazon, it takes about a week, because literally someone has to go through your form and go, you screwed up here, redo it. And you have to wait another week.
Super NA 17 rated.
Yeah, if you put a rating in that it actually isn't, they'll kick it back to you and say, that's not your rating. And sometimes if you don't have an MPAA rating, then you got to go and put in not rated and say 16 plus, which is currently what it's at.
Oh, okay.
So, but it gets kicked back a bunch. But the nice thing is Amazon's an audience of people that want to watch something and sit down for a while and watch it. Whereas YouTube, someone wants to watch something for a minute or two, something short, quick, and that hits them. Yeah,
the audience for YouTube is primarily for kind of shorter clips. And I don't think you're looking for the film. I think, from my perspective, someone that doesn't really know the understanding of the backbones of what it is, what it goes on to upload movies to things. If I saw a movie like Simone Gold or your show on Amazon, I'd be more akin to that's on Amazon. It's kind of, people are taking it a little bit more serious. Whereas when I was in high school, and my buddies and I would just get a camcorder and shoot what came to our mind, as high school kids do, and then throw it up on YouTube, and that was it, and that's all we needed. So it's kind of
essentially you can do that with Amazon. It just has higher quality standards to do that.
Well, I didn't have higher quality standards. I didn't have a poster maker.
Those standards. Yeah. I will say, I have, and I'm sure people will run across Lenni's work, but I've run across random stuff uploaded and ended up watching going, well, this is interesting. Oh, it's out of Oregon. Oh, it's a community college production. Okay. It's kind of neat to go down those rabbit holes and see what people are making.
Awesome. And then
you kind of just have to be opened up to indie film, because I think people that have an open mind to its art, and they're stepping into something that maybe not is Hollywood, they can enjoy it then.
Yeah, and that's what this kind of the beginnings, the backbone of this podcast for Jim and me, is we wanted to highlight these local artists that people don't necessarily know how to find. Before I started this, I had no idea that you could find these local shows, these local short films on Amazon that you can go out and support the kind of local artists. Or even short films that get released, especially released on like at Valley Farm Mall, where Dear Lord was able to have that kind of thing. So that's kind of, we're setting up this platform to highlight people like yourself, people that are working hard, and celebrate the talent here in Utah, because it really is getting to a point where it's really awesome to see the production that's coming through the ranks here in our state.
Yeah, appreciate that. That's admirable.
I like to say, it's like we are the heroes people don't deserve, but the ones that they need.
There you go.
So I really had to think hard for that one.
No,
it was like that was a deep Dark Knight quote there.
Personally, I think Utah as a film community is getting better and better, and that's something that we want. We should be supporting each other. We should be trying to raise the bar on production quality, so that way we get more people here looking at what we're doing, and they're serious about maybe investing in what we're doing.
Well, the biggest budget movies ever to come through the state of Utah are basically Disney movies. Yeah.
Well, I think there's Yellowstone as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's a TV
That one's a big budget.
Well, I mean, to give you credit, Lenny, it's stuff that you're making that's raising the bar. Because, I mean, I've had my finger on the pulse for only a few years, but within that few years where you've been creating things and Tu has been creating things, I know a few other people that are actively independently creating things. They're all raising their own bars on what they produce, and in a sense raising it for the community, because you have to keep up. If you're producing something that good and your work is beautiful, like the cinematography is always just like amazing to watch.
I wish I could take credit for all the cinematography, but I just got great cinematographers, Sometimes I'm doing some of it, but most of the time, like Roman, Sela, Robin Adamson, they're the ones DPing. I like to direct, and I like to collaborate with someone who has a vision with how the cinematography should go. If I try and do everything, then it's going to, in some way, I think, hinder the production a little, just because I'm doing too much.
Yeah, and how you direct the teams that you pull together, the quality of people that you bring in, it shows in your work, and so people have to catch up to you now. Like, props to that.
Thanks. Yeah,
you're pretty awesome, is what we're trying to say.
Well, I'm not one
pumping
to
up the head there.
Yeah. No, I know that things have improved, and I love seeing like Tua making his films and doing amazing stuff, as well as J.D. Allen with Inglewood Films, and also Landon and Chaz. Those guys are making some films too. Like, everyone's kind of stepping up, like you're saying. I don't know if it's related to me though. I mean,
well, no, not just you. I'm just saying with this core group of people that I have. Yeah. Most of them I personally know through acting classes.
Right.
You guys have taken your dreams into your own hands, and you're creating work that you are proud of. And because you've raised that bar for yourself and you're producing that work, it forces the rest of the community who has, in my opinion, and this is no offense to them, they didn't do that yet. And now they are, because in order to stand out and compete with you and get the views that you want to see, well, they're like, well, Lenny looks this great, but this project doesn't look that great, and so they need to step it up. And that's
true. Yeah, I guess there is that competition
it's
going
competition.
on.
I think it's motivation.
Yeah, it's
everything like good competition always.
Good
helps.
competition. Yeah, it depends what kind of competition it is. There's the
healthy
negative
competition.
Yeah, healthy competition.
Well, and it's kind of, Emily brings up a good point, because a lot of the times I assume here in Utah, they kind of, like actors and stuff like that, and producers and directors, they kind of limit to themselves. Oh, we're still in Utah. We're not that big. Whereas you guys, you see yourselves growing each and every every opportunity. You're setting new bars for people to climb, and to kind of setting a new bar for when people are coming up the ranks, they can look up your examples and say, no, we're from Utah. We're passionate about it. We know what we're doing. Let's go and make something better than these guys. And then that kind of leads to a snowball effect too.
Right.
And not to say that in years past I haven't really paid attention, and if they pulled it up, there wouldn't be well-made quality work. I just feel like it is the snowball effect. There's more of it happening. And so the more
Definitely.
people that jump into the pool now, their first projects have to meet a certain standard than before.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah. That was a perfect way to finish that interview. So now, Lenny, we are going to talk a few little movies that have come out this last weekend. You can let us know if you've seen them yet.
Okay.
The first one I want to talk about is the new Ted Bundy movie, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Did you see that one?
I have not seen
So
that
it came out on Netflix on Friday. Emily, did you catch it?
I'm not one of those girls that is obsessed with serial killers.
That's totally fine.
Also, I don't want to ruin my love of Zac Efron.
So it's totally fine. I watched it. So did Tambi. Tambi watched it this morning.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
movies. If you listen to the podcast, I don't necessarily dislike movies. You kind of catch it. I try to find the silver lining in mostly everything, but this movie made me angry.
Really?
Oh.
Because it was just okay.
Oh, it wasn't because the director made you angry
No,
by doing certain things. Or...
because it could have been so amazing. Because Zac Efron,
He was really good.
his best performance he's ever had.
Oh, yeah.
And
I could believe that.
and it just felt like this movie had a leash on him the entire movie and didn't let him kind of take that next step, going to that dark place. And I get what the director was kind of going for. He was trying to paint the picture of what Lily Collins' character, Liz, she was going through. We were basically in her shoes the entire movie and seeing this guy that she loved the entire time, not seeing what he was doing behind the scenes, but just kind of taking his word for what he was telling her and then just kind of following him and then going through court scene to court scene and just seeing the kind of the act of him trying to escape prison and then getting back into prison, then escaping again and getting back out and then running away and then hiding and then getting caught again. I would have preferred to see Zac Efron kind of just
really dive into that role.
Take it darker, turn like I kind of always compare it to the Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs, where he was evil, but you enjoyed I remember seeing that movie and like, oh, that guy's not that bad. He's talking to Clarice and he's just sitting there and helping her through this mystery or whatever. And then, but as soon as he gets let out, that's when you see Hannibal Lecter really kind of jump out and you're terrified of him. I thought that Zac Efron could have had that opportunity because there's moments in this movie where you see like the darkness of Ted Bundy, and I'm like, that's what I want to see. That's exactly why I'm watching the movie. And Tambi brought it up, and she's like, some people don't want to see that, kind of him going back and killing all these people, which I get because the victims, and it's very hard for them. But don't make the movie if you're trying to skate around it, because you're just limiting what could have been. Because I think Zac Efron, this could have been an award-winning performance for him, because he was that close, just kind of really driving it home. But I was just really kind of left really unsatisfied at the end of the movie.
Well, if the movie, because if the movie itself being made was really controversial online, everyone was really upset that it was happening, because it's the people who are the families of the victims are still alive. Yeah. And so I think the way that they did it kind of eased the controversy a little bit more. Exactly. And so that's what I understand why they did that way. And I liked it. I think it's interesting to see why he got away with as much as he did.
It makes you wonder if you didn't live in Utah growing up and knowing the story of who Ted Bundy was, if you would have followed along with the movie as well. Because it kind of makes you, if you didn't watch the Ted Bundy tapes, I imagine
you'd be confused.
You'd be really confused at what was happening.
Yeah.
Because
shoot, maybe I should watch it.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it.
Because I didn't grow up in Utah, and I haven't read anything, or I just know surface stuff about Ted Bundy. He's a creeper. So, that's all I need to know.
Same here.
which is interesting. If you watch the Ted Bundy tapes, it's the same director from the movie. So he spent the last 2 years
researching him,
diving into who Ted Bundy is, and the tapes are complete 180 from what the movie is. Really the tapes make your skin crawl and just make you really feel it. Because I grew up here, my family grew up here. I've had friends and people that kind of grew up in Salt Lake during the time when he was, doing just kind of out there and terrorizing the community. And so that kind of freaked me out, whereas the movie doesn't play into that at all. It kind of, it almost plays as
the perspective of his wife, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been really interesting to see the perspective of how he lured the community and how much the community loved him, because
they tried to,
but the tapes really showed how much like people were fighting for him to like get out of jail.
Yeah. But I don't want to dive too much, on this too much. I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. It just, I'd get mad when I see something just like that could have been so much better and they missed their opportunity. That's all
Well, maybe I will sit down and watch it just so I can give you the perspective of somebody who is unfamiliar with this character in almost entirety.
I would appreciate
other than
that.
his name and infamy, I don't really know that much about Ted Bundy.
Yeah, like I would actually really be curious to see what you think about it, because that's, I just know so much about it because the tapes and then growing up here. So
Right.
I also went and saw Long Shot.
Did you like it?
On Friday. It was surprisingly really good.
Yeah? Wouldn't. That does not surprise me to hear that.
So my biggest question, for those that don't know what the movie is about, it stars
it right now.
Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen.
Oh, okay. That one.
Charlize Theron is, she is a senator.
I thought she was the
Secretary of State.
Yeah, Secretary of State.
That's what I was, sorry about that. She's a Secretary of State running for president. And Seth Rogen is a friend of hers that she knew when she used to babysit when she was younger. He was like 4 years younger than she was, and he had a huge crush on her. And so they grow up, and he turns out to be a really successful journalist, a very kind of liberal journalist, so doesn't like being owned by the corporate world and the higher ups and the white man and people with the money. He doesn't want to. Very Seth Rogen type character, always high, doing drugs and stuff like that.
You got a hippie journalist.
Yes.
And the Secretary of State,
Charlize Theron, who knew each other in high school. And so portrays itself to be a rom-com. I consider it more to be a comedy than romance.
Yeah.
But my biggest question going into the movie is if they can make me believe Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen belong together, it wins. And it did. Like I was
that is a rom-com.
I was so surprised on like how much I believe Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron actually would get together in this situation. And it makes no sense that she should be with this person, but it happens anyway, and I think that's the point of the movie is that you can love whoever you want and it doesn't matter what society says.
Well, I mean, being in a relationship where I feel like the outward perspective, people are like, that's an odd pairing. But I can tell you from my perspective, it's just right. It's perfect. That's
actually really sweet. I hope Jim listens. Yeah, and oh man, that was just it threw me through a loop there, Emily. That was very sweet of you. What was I saying? I was gonna say Seth Rogen's acting in this movie is really top notch. It's probably one of my favorite actors to watch grow over the years. Because when you first kind of saw him in Knocked Up, he was kind of
he's playful.
Seth Rogen. Hey, what's up, guys?
I'm not surprised to hear that either, because he is paired up against a good actress.
Yeah, Charlize.
He's got to be on par.
He's got to take his next step up, and it has.
And that's again raising the bar. Like it's not competition; it's motivation. Like, I want to do as good as you because it makes us both look good.
Mm-hmm. And it's a fun time if you're into rated R comedies. It's a good time. Strong language throughout the movie, and there's a scene in the movie that I'm surprised they let in. I didn't think that they could do it. No nudity in the entire film, but when you see it, you know what I'm talking about. There's just a distinct scene that has a big plot point going for the last act of the movie that I was shocked that they showed. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I went in skeptical. I saw that it had positive reviews, but I wasn't really sure. if I could buy into the romance of Charlize and Seth, and I absolutely did. And I thought
I definitely want to see that one.
it was a good time, and I was happy to watch it.
Cool.
Awesome.
We were going to do our Flashback movie reviews. Did you watch Mr. Nobody this week?
I didn't see Mr. Nobody.
Okay.
I saw half of the Phantom Thread.
All right, we're going to talk about Phantom Thread.
I watched some of Mr. Nobody.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, good.
Did you like it?
We'll get to Mr. Nobody after this because I want to talk about it. But Emily, what do you think of Phantom Thread?
I don't know why it had so many nominations.
I want to tell a story.
Okay.
So back when I was a senior in college, Tambi and I had Movie Pass. Is that right, Tambi?
It was the best time of our lives.
We would go see movies every day.
We didn't know what we had.
We possibly could. Just whenever we had no friends, we had no life. We lived together.
Nothing's changed.
Like we do now. We just lived in Logan, and we don't get critically acclaimed movies in Logan. So when they come because they do this nice thing up in the Logan theaters, in the Providence Theater up there, when the Best Picture movies are announced, they do a kind of a showing of 2 of the Best Picture movies every week leading up to the Oscars. So with our movie passes, we went to see every single one. We saw 3 Billboards. We went and saw what's the one with Tom Hanks and the paper one, the Post,
The paper, the Post,
the Post, and all the other ones that year. And the last one we had to see was Phantom Thread, and we walked in. Nobody's in the theater. It's just us, and the movie goes, and we're just sitting there, and like it just went on forever.
Where's the
Oh my
plot?
gosh, it really did.
Like, and it has such an incredible cast. Like, Paul Thomas Anderson's one of Jim's favorite directors.
That's why. Honestly, I asked him. I was like, as we're sitting there, why are we watching this? He's like, because if I said it, that means I have to watch it, and I've been wanting to watch this, but I have no interest in any of the subject of this. And then we're
so he didn't actually watch it. Okay.
Well, he
got half to the point that
I thought he loved the movie, and he was going to tell me that he loved it. Okay.
No.
Okay, good. That makes me feel good about him.
He's so upset. He's just as upset about it as I am.
Good.
Probably because like it's his favorite director.
Good. And it didn't it had the greatest acclaimed actor of our lifetime, Daniel Day-Lewis. This was his swan song.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I don't understand. Like,
he was a jerk. I mean, that character.
The character was a jerk. The way and the end of the movie makes no sense. The
beginning of the movie none of it makes sense. I couldn't get to the end. So
Tambi, let's spoil it.
Okay, let's.
Okay.
If you can get to the end of this,
you deserve to be spoiled. We're doing you a favor. So, Daniel Day-Lewis's character, Reynolds Woodcock is his name. And he falls in love with a waitress named Alma. And
stalkers.
Yeah. No, that interaction between them, like he shows up at this diner,
do you want to have dinner with me?
And because he's so turned on by her, he eats a lot. Like that's a thing he eats because he is attracted to her. And then when they
so that's why I eat all the time. Just kidding.
Well, I stressy. But so and then they get a lot like he takes her to his house or something, and then the scene made me so mad. He's like, I want to see who I'm speaking to, and he makes her take her lipstick off. I was like, get your hands off her, creeper. She didn't consent to you touching her. I was so mad. So
his career continues. We kind of skipped over what he does.
He's a world famous dressmaker.
Yeah, he makes dresses for all the famous
the who's
who's in England. He makes their dresses, and his name when people you're wearing a woodcock or whatever.
House of Woodcock.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and he falls in love with this waitress, invites her to his house to live there. His sister doesn't like her, so she keeps trying to push her away. He loves her, and his career kind of takes off. He gets a lot more bitter, a lot more angry as the movie goes on. She doesn't. The Alma character, Vicky Krieps, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Anyway, She doesn't like it. She poisons him.
Oh God, is that what happened?
Yeah,
what?
She poisons him with mushrooms, and he gets sick, and so then she has to take care of him, and then they fall in love again because she's taking care of him, and then
He gets back to his old ways.
he gets back to his angry ways, and then she poisons him again, like with
And
tea.
he's okay with it.
Yeah,
Like, he knows.
She tells him, is like, okay, I just poisoned you with this tea, and he drinks it, and he's like, kiss me again before I get you sick, and then they fall in love again, and I was like, and that's how the movie
Like,
ends.
talk about a toxic relationship.
Literally.
Literally.
toxic.
Wow.
So,
Oh goodness.
and
I'm glad I didn't watch it.
of all those Best Picture movies, that was the one that I was like, why? Tam and I, we at the end of the movie, we're like, I don't get it.
It hurt. Like my back hurt at the end from just like wanting to lay down because it was just.
Not-
It was. You don't know when it's gonna end.
It was slow paced. I think it was also nominated for cinematography, and I
Yeah.
will say that was interesting. Like
pretty.
some of
It's
the
pretty-
the transitions and like the way they shot things. Like I like that.
Like if
I
you're,
could watch it on silent.
I guarantee if you're a huge film like student,
yeah.
and let's say like, you probably got like a master's in film or something like that you love Phantom Thread, but from my
Yeah.
perspective, where I'm very much, I am what I am. I am a nerd. I love big budget movies, but I appreciate the smaller stuff.
Mhm.
I like good stories. I like good stories. I like connection. You know, I like interesting things. Like I'm a like one thing I get obsessed about in films is like the set design. What was that one with Tom Cruise where he was like the pilot that smuggled drugs?
I'm talking about
I'm really bad with names. It came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
But he
Top Gun.
no. That was way
Hey,
more.
that sounds like an interesting movie.
Wait.
Jet fighter smuggling drugs. Okay, let's
The
make this.
set designs were amazing. I kept going, I want that couch. I love that wallpaper. Like, I'm one of those people. Like, I pick out these.
I'm curious what movie you're talking about.
What is
You know what? This movie. So I'm an English major, and so I just graduated, and so my whole degree is to. I'm a literary emphasis, and so my whole degree is to like look at books and like analyze the crap out of them. And sometimes I had this whole class dedicated to this one author. And his books are really good if you like analyze them by page, but the whole plot, the whole story means nothing. Like nothing makes sense. The plot's not much. So it reminds me of Phantom Thread reminds me of that. If you like take a scene, I bet you can analyze the crap out of it and like pinpoint everything, the reasons why they put those things in the scenes.
Yeah.
But in a whole, there's just not much going on.
Yeah, I don't know why he picked that. It's American Made is the one I'm thinking of.
Okay, I did see that one. But to transition to the other movie, equally weird. And
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing this movie back when I was on my Jared Leto kick, because Jared Leto is my 30 Seconds to Mars is my favorite band, and Jared Leto is one of my favorite actors during that
Is
time.
it Leto or Leto?
I think it depends. I think
I don't know.
it depends on who
Because I
it is.
hear different people say it different ways.
I always pronounce it as Leto,
I know.
but I guess it depends.
we
on
all
what-
know
what-
who we're talking
Yeah.
about. It's fine.
Yeah.
crazy Joker guy. And I didn't know that he was also the singer of 30 Seconds to Mars. So it was just like one of those things. I was like, I
Oh.
love 30 Seconds to Mars. I like Jared Leto. And then I was doing some research in like high school or something like that. And I Googled up Jared Leto or one of the two, and they both popped up. I was like,
What?
oh. Oh.
Have you ever seen 30 Seconds to Mars live?
I did. I went and saw them 2
He puts
years
on a
ago.
good show.
2 years ago, I went and saw them live with Muse. It was a fun show. I went, and I don't want to get into too deep of this one, but Jared Leto is very much a performer,
Oh, yeah.
whereas Muse is very much a rock band, which was a lot of fun.
I mean,
to
they
do.
also, I hear they do really good production.
They
I haven't
do,
seen music
but like,
live.
whereas 30 Seconds to Mars, it's about Jared
It
Leto.
is,
It's
yeah.
the Jared
He
Leto
performs.
shore,
Yeah.
and whereas Muse is the band. It's like everyone's a star on there.
I
for
looked
them.
it up how to pronounce his name.
How do you say it?
Well, this person says he's quoted as saying Leto from the ghetto. So,
Oh.
Let
So
us
I
from
would-
the
I've
ghetto.
only heard
But I
Leto.
say Guido, so
you say
so where does that leave me?
not here.
It's like, because I lived in West Valley, and let me tell you,
It's
very Guido.
When Jim was saying Lido, I didn't know if it was like a joke. But
he does.
I just
he's
ignore
not the
what
only
Jim
one
says.
that a lot. Well, I mean,
Don't say that, but
he's gonna hear that.
I know. Hi, Jim.
Anyway, Mr. Nobody, how much of it do you remember?
I just watched it last night, so honestly, it's pretty fresh in my mind.
Just give us a quick rundown of what the movie's about, of what you watched.
So for me, well, you want just the story, or you want what I thought of it?
Thought of it. Give us what you thought of it.
I love some of the cinematography. There were some really cool magic tricks they did in there with cinematography. As a story, I didn't feel like it was a really good story. I felt like it was a good thought provoker, and that's kind of what it was about, is like choice, like where different choices took him in his life. So this guy's telling all these different choices he could have made that could have led to different outcomes, and then in the end, they all lead to bad outcomes. Is the thing. I was like, this is a horrible film, and it just keeps like all these bad things are happening, and then like at the very end, like there's that silver lining. It's like, oh, he gets with the girl and
his stepsister.
Well, it's his stepsister, not his biological sister. So
it's his stepsister.
Not necessarily a bad thing.
It's fine. In a family, growing up with a family with stepsisters, let me tell you, it is not fine.
Well, okay. So what if his mom was like with the dad before she broke, or like that was the person that she was cheating with, and that was his sister? Like, there's that thought too.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up with our step siblings. I bet it'd be different if you didn't like share a
Grow up
bedroom
with
with
them.
them for
From what
10
I
years.
understand is that they knew each other beforehand, and that's kind of how, and they liked each other, and then their parents got married.
But there was that moment where there was the guy and the girl, which was his mom, right?
Yeah.
And then there was the girl on the dock, and that's where I was like,
yes.
Oh crap, has this been going on for a while? Is that his sister? Like that thought popped in my head. So I don't know.
So this one, I don't know why I gave Jim this one. To be honest with you, I was in a weird state last week. I just needed to give him something. I was like, watch this one. And I remember watching this and completely thinking back in the day when I watched it, thinking, oh, my uncles will love this one because it's weird and I don't get it. So this is my time to ask him if he actually got it. And I don't know if he did.
He might have enjoyed it.
I don't think he liked that one either.
Oh, did he not?
No.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
And Jared Leto's barely in the movie too, which was kind of unfortunate for me. He's the old guy.
Right.
And then he's in the adult.
Oh, right, because they have the young version a lot of the time.
The younger
that's true.
Younger version of him was kind of took precedence of the entire movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, Emily.
Yeah.
Do you have a movie for me to watch next week?
I'm gonna pull. Okay, so premise: my mother, like my entertainment growing up, was the videos that my mother would pick up from like Goodwill. But there was this one set of videos that she stole from Blockbuster because she loved these movies so much. And so she had to own the tapes. I don't know if she still owns them, but
my mom did that with beer glasses at like bars that she'd go to.
Really?
Yeah.
See, well, that's, I don't know. Yeah, VHS is like, they don't really hold up. But I remember watching them and going, well, these are actually kind of funny. And it's, and I was thinking about this last week about you guys never pick old movies. Like, I mean, like really old movies. And I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years, I guess. But it's The Gods Must Be Crazy. It's a South African comedy. And they have a real Bushman. And you can find it on YouTube. It's not the best quality, but it's a great story.
I love South Africa stories.
Yeah.
I took a whole class on South Africa, like a literature.
Oh, cool.
It's really fun.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting culture in general. But yeah, it really focuses on the Bushmen out there. And it's just a really fun, quirky story to follow.
You say you can find it on YouTube?
You can.
Okay, the
Somebody has uploaded
I think
the full
I actually
video.
watched that in film history in high school once.
Really?
Yeah, I think I did watch this one. It was really funny. Yeah, I know exactly. I'm excited to rewatch it though.
Yeah, I've been itching to rewatch it. So I was like looking to see where I can stream it, and I was like, it's on YouTube.
Might as well. Lenny, do you have a movie that you would
I
suggest us to watch next week?
Totally have a movie. Have you seen Prospect?
I have not. What is Prospect?
Man. You have to see Prospect. Like, that's my favorite movie this year so far.
Okay, 2018 Prospect came out recently.
Yeah, it released this year. I think it was a limited theatrical release though.
Thriller. So get back into our horror roots here.
All right.
I
can
really
at least
good.
rent this one on like Phantom Thread. So
yeah,
that makes me happy.
It's very awesome. I love the amount of practical effects in it, and they kind of go for a reverse technology look than most sci-fis go. Where sci-fis today, they're all like these displays that pop up. Instead, it's like kind of like 80s. The 80s, the ships held switches and stuff, and these vector little monitors and stuff. So it's really cool. Like the art direction is just awesome on it.
And Prince Oberyn's in it too.
Yes, he
Pedro
is.
Pascal.
And also the girl is awesome too.
Sophie Thatcher?
Yeah, she's a nobody, but she's really good. So she's going to go places.
Awesome. Pedro Pascal has become one of those guys I just like to follow. Every movie
awesome.
and every TV show that I've seen him in, it's been really fun to kind of see him. The movie that I'm going to give everyone here is I guess it's fairly new. I wanted to go older, but I think not enough people watched it. Sing Street, 2016. Sing Street.
Sing Street.
It is a Northern Ireland movie. So if you have subtitles, I suggest watching it on subtitles because their accents are very thick.
Oh, I love the Irish accent though. Like I could watch Saoirse Ronan in interviews all day long because she's like if you look her up, she's was most recently in
Lady Bird.
Yes, Lady Bird. And she has stated that she will never use her own accent in any character that she's in. So if you watch her, you never hear who she is. But if you watch her in interviews, she's got a nice Dublin accent.
Well, I didn't know. Like, it's the same thing with Christian Bale. I didn't know he was not from America until like when he was up for Vice. When he got up and spoke, I was like, wait.
What is he?
He's upstate UK?
Upstate UK. Is
that's not the way to say. Hold on. I want to pull.
Do they have states in the UK?
Yes, they do. It's a recent thing. They've seceded from Wales. He's from Wales, UK.
Wales.
I don't think I've ever heard him speak his native accent.
It'll throw you through a loop because every
Welsh people.
Yeah, so he's got a thick accent. But yeah, Saoirse Ronan.
Dublin Irish.
So yeah, but Sing Street, very it's a Dublin, so right up your alley, Emily.
Yeah.
But the story is that this boy kind of is an outlier. He's got a couple weird friends, and this new girl moves to town, and she's a model, and he wants to impress her. So he goes up and talks to her and says, and he gets super nervous, like teenagers do. And she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm in a band." He's not really in a band, guys. That's the plot of the movie. So him and his buds start a band.
To impress the girl.
To impress the girl.
Oh, nice.
That's the best reason to start anything.
Exactly.
Is to
Impress
win somebody
somebody.
over. And then you learn a new skill. The relationship fails, but you're better off anyway.
And I will die on this hill that the hit song Drive It Like You Stole It was robbed at the Oscars. It should have been nominated for Best Song, and it should have won that year because it was an amazing song, and I still listen to it on my playlist every now and then. It'll come on, but it's such a good song, such a good story. I'm a fan of the heartwarming kind of coming of age movies. We watched The Edge of 17 yesterday. Such a good movie.
So good.
Did anyone else see?
Wait, which one is it?
The Edge of 17.
Who's in that one?
It's Haley Steinfeld and.
You ever want to feel awkward?
Haley Steinfeld and why can't I remember his name?
Woody Harrelson.
Thank you, Woody Harrelson and Blake Jenner.
Oh.
Okay.
Great movie. I said this to Tambi. Is like I want to watch 8th Grade.
No.
And The Edge of 17 back to back because The Edge of 17 like it's basically I don't know if you want to feel incredibly awkward and relive your awkward teenage and 8th grade years. Those are the two movies you should watch back to back.
Oh my gosh! I literally just posted yesterday on social media. I was all like, I do not miss being younger.
No.
You need
Not
to watch.
even a little
No.
bit.
I'm gonna change Sing Street. I'm gonna watch. You're watching 8th grade.
No.
What? 8th grade? Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that who made that one?
It was Bo Burnham.
Yeah. Yeah.
8th grade.
I love that
8th grade
comedian.
is
Okay.
literally
I heard about it and I was like, oh, that's probably gonna be interesting because he's gonna make it real.
Oh yeah, that was probably one of the more
It's just good.
I want to say spiritual moments I've ever had with my sister.
She looks like me, first of all, when I was in 8th grade, and it was just eerie. It was like me in 8th grade.
Yeah, it
You
is.
were like reliving your 8th grade.
It was-
everyone wants to.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
get
my,
scared
I don't-
often
Go back.
in movies, but I honestly will say this is a suspenseful movie. Because
8th grade?
yes, it's not, but the awkwardness
Makes it.
so painful to watch.
Dad,
Okay.
Our dad was watching it the other day, and he texted us. He's like, "Does this get happier?" We're like,
Literally, like I was in my knees at the theater. We were watching it at the Broadway theater down the street, and I literally was sunk into my chair, just completely awkward. Tambi had her face covered because she couldn't take it anymore. There's a scene in this movie. Oh my heavens! It makes your skin just like
Oh no.
so.
Okay.
I didn't go through with this specific scene.
Yeah, Tambi. Tambi didn't have that situation. Tambi didn't have that situation ever. But like, so many little girls have been in that situation, and the same thing happens in Edge of 17.
Yeah.
And it just like, just makes
Guys suck.
guys.
Period.
Yeah, guys in general in movies.
Hey, come on now.
You can't change
Men.
my mind.
But so yeah, I'm changing it to 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can watch it on Amazon Prime right now.
Okay, cool.
So
I'll find it.
try to find it if you can. I'm sorry for those that are going to watch it. But if I had to go through that, if Tambi had to go through that, you all have to go through that with us.
It's really good. Though.
I mean, I have a 9 and 11-year-old,
No.
and I'm just
Perfect.
And they're boys, right? Both
yeah,
boys?
they're both
Okay.
boys.
Okay, so
I'm gonna make them watch this movie.
there is a PG-13 rated one, I think.
Is there?
I think because I remember last summer Bo Burnham wanted to have the movie,
actual
wanted
8th graders.
kids to watch the movie so they can learn something. So he made a special cut for kids.
Ooh,
So,
I'm gonna dig that up.
so
I'm gonna find
see
that.
if you can find that because that might be one that you watch with your kids. I honestly think that this was one of the movies that were robbed for Best Picture last year. It should have taken one of the many spots of the movies that weren't that good yesterday.
Maybe Phantom Thread.
No,
Yeah.
that was even back then. But like it should have taken Vice's spot. Should have taken Bohemian Rhapsody's spot. It should have taken.
I just actually finally watched Bohemian
I
Rhapsody.
love Bohemian Rhapsody,
Really
but
good.
it shouldn't have been nominated for Best Picture. And
Yeah, maybe not Best Picture.
exactly. And
Rami Malek, though, I think he earned
oh yeah,
the
Oh, yeah.
Best
Ugh.
Actor.
Yeah, that movie. I went and saw it with my aunt and my grandma in Florida in January, and all three of us and my great aunt Karen. We all four of us went and saw it, and we all were crying at the end of the movie. I loved it because it's kind of, if you go on the Bohemian Rhapsody soapbox, it's the end of the movie is a lot like
wait.
my Steven. Well, no, the message of the movie is a lot like my Stevens family, and I want to get the quote because it is really powerful. Like I think that's what drove my Aunt Mimi and myself to cry because it was really good. Tambi, you saw it, you didn't like it, right?
I liked it. I didn't cry.
Yeah, I was like,
I
was not emotional either. I was like,
you guys were telling me that you were crying.
I think I was
and
more like
it's
just like the powerhouse of a human and what they were able to recreate was really what I was kind of
Okay.
more impressed by.
You know what I'm not impressed of?
What?
So Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury with all his like extravagant dresses and outfits. And then the Met Gala this weekend, Rami Malek was very subpar.
Oh.
Just
Well.
saying. I thought he would learn something.
You take a cue from
Freddie
somebody
Mercury.
he embodied.
Whatever. Okay, say something inspirational, Brady.
I can't find it. Anyway,
Okay.
watch the movie. You'll know which one I'm talking about. It's at the very end when he reconnects with Queen, and they talk about how
Oh.
they're all failures, but they love each other in their own way. We're gonna enough movie. Talk about movies. We're gonna talk about some movie news. We got some. Let's see. Chadwick Boseman. You guys, are we fans?
Black Panther.
Black Panther. Are we fan of Chadwick Boseman here?
I think he's doing great stuff.
So he's just been cast in he's going to be a black samurai in an upcoming movie. If I can pull this up real quick. It is.
I didn't finish reading that. Is that based off a true story?
It's not a true story, but I think it's a novel that they've.
Oh, an adaptation?
Yeah. We'll play Yasuke, I guess is the way to say it. From what I understand, he kind of grows up in Japan, becomes a samurai warrior. I'm excited to see Chadwick kind of portray this role. He's kind of been one of those just up-and-coming actors I always like seeing do what's next. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then Avatar 2. Do you think we're ever going to get it?
I don't know. I didn't even see the first one.
I think so.
Because it got pushed back again.
Oh, no.
To 2021. Do you remember the last time when Avatar 1 came out?
Yeah.
What year was it?
Crap, I don't know.
The MCU was one movie big.
Oh, it came out at the same time as Iron Man?
It came out in 2009.
Oh.
And Iron Man came out in 2008. So up until Avatar 2, I think there's two movies out. There was Iron Man and there was The Incredible Hulk. Iron Man 2 was just in production, so it wasn't out yet. But that's kind of to put in perspective how long it's been.
They've taken a while
since we've seen Avatar 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the crowd and the people are going to be actually wanting to go see. I feel like the buzz of Avatar is completely gone. It's kind of the popular thing to hate on Avatar now.
Did you guys like the movie?
I don't know. I mean, if it's gonna have a really cool preview, it'll probably get everyone just excited.
That's why and James Cameron. I mean, he's had up until recently, he's had the two biggest movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So with Titanic and Avatar. So if he has to take 12 years to make a movie,
it could be they're pushing it back because they got some new technology they want to use. You never know.
The reason for the article says is because they just got bought by Disney, so they're just kind of reshuffling some things.
Disney.
Oh, red tape.
What does Disney not own? That's what I want to know.
Warner Brothers, Universal Studios.
I'd
Warner
say
Brothers.
they've got a monopoly
Paramount?
here.
Do they own Paramount
Sony.
yet?
Paramount isn't Paramount Universal kind of?
Is
No.
No, they're not.
I think
no.
they're still separate.
They're still separate.
Yeah,
So
Disney owns too much.
they got basically they have my entire childhood is what Disney has.
Yeah.
So
they've brainwashed all the little kids, and now they're releasing all the movies that will entice them to come watch.
Oh
Exactly.
man, that Disney streaming.
Disney Plus. Are you kidding me?
It comes out in November.
November, $70 for over 500 of Disney exclusive items. That includes all the Star Wars movies. That includes all the MCU movies, all the TV shows of the MCU, all the new Star Wars TV show starring Pedro Pascal. You got all the Pixar movies, all the Disney animated movies, and then they're just going to throw in National Geographic because...
Why not?
Why not?
They need to compete with Netflix's whatever those nature videos are that they've been releasing.
Netflix, that's why you're seeing Netflix produce so much more content now, like solo stuff, because Disney's taking everything away from them of their most popular stuff outside of like The Office and The Friends. The Friends.
So is the Disney Channel going to have all the Fox stuff as well?
So you mean FX or?
Well, didn't they buy Fox?
20th
Yeah.
Century Fox.
So from what I understand, Fox, Fox News and stuff like that, they just went from they're basically Fox News and Fox Sports now. So everything else that's kind of under the umbrella of Fox, so like Fox TV, it goes to Disney.
So like all the cool movies that Fox made goes to Disney's channel.
Yeah. So like the original Star Wars.
Yeah, Disney has too much.
Original Star Wars Aliens is going to be over.
Right, that's the one I'm thinking of
Yeah.
when I think Fox. I'm like, Aliens.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, if they're going to continue with the Alien series that they have in like the movies right now. So, because from what I understand, the original director wants to come back and make some more Alien movies, but the last few haven't made a lot of money, so they don't know if that's going to happen, and if Disney is willing to fork up the rated R movie, because we don't know if that's. I mean, Bob Iger did say that he is open to it if it can make him money. So, anyway.
Okay, cool.
So, like,
what about the other rated R movies?
Exactly, like
Wolverine,
Logan,
Fox. Yeah, Logan.
Logan and Deadpool.
Yeah.
And that's why Bob Iger came out and said that, because a lot of people, when they saw that it was actually going to go through, and during his like press conference phone call thing, a reporter asked him, "Is like what's going to happen with Deadpool?" And he basically essentially said that he's open for it to remain rated R if it can make him money. So, and Deadpool's been the most profitable rated R movie that there's ever been.
Right.
So, and I've been telling everybody this, but if I was writing a script for Deadpool 3 and it was under the Disney umbrella, it would be Ryan Reynolds or Wade Wilson waking up and just slowly the world just disappearing, just like things just going away, and it's basically the Fox universe of just going up in flames. And the first like 15 minutes of the movie is going to be him just running through trying to figure out how to survive in this, like, before getting deleted. And then like the very last second he finds something like a device or something more nerdy than I can think of off the top of my head, and he opens a portal and he falls through and lands on the foot of Doctor Strange. And that's how he enters the MCU.
There you go.
And then that way you don't have to recast anything. That way you don't have to explain why he's in this movie and in a different universe. But anyway, we're getting really nerdy now. Jim would not allow this. He would have steered me back on course by now, saying that superhero movies are not important.
I think they're great.
Exactly. Thank you, Emily.
Hey.
I would like to see more.
I personally
content.
think that superhero movies are not that great.
I appreciate that.
I think that people fantasize so much about those characters that they love the movies more than they should.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot like Jim made it. I quickly mentioned it last week, saying the MCU in particular has become a TV show. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No,
but
it's not.
You just have to have watched all the other movies, and those of us that have
actually
love it. We love it.
I've seen about 8 of all of them.
Oh wow!
Because so
many.
Yeah. Well, there's
22 now.
22 now, and so I was like, oh, but I went and watched Endgame, and I understood most of what was going on, and I still, like.
Would you consider yourself a diehard superhero fan? Like,
absolutely not.
Okay, so that's a good perspective, because for people like me who care way too much about things like this, growing up seeing Iron Man 1 all the way up to Infinity War, going into this movie, I grew up with this kind of thing. This is going to be my generation Star Wars. Yeah. 30 years down the road, they're going to be talking about Endgame and this kind of culmination of movies, the pantheon of great movies, like they do with Star Wars with the older,
right?
Yeah.
Well, people also refer to them as the cowboy movies of this time.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Cowboy movies were so big back then, and now they're just. And at some point, superhero movies are going to take that same fall, I think.
Exactly.
If you want to know more my style of like what I'm drawn to in like superhero genre, Mystery Men would be my top pick.
I don't even know who that is.
Came out in 1999.
That's probably
has
why.
Ben Stiller, William H. Macy.
Oh, that one wasn't that the comedy or was it a comedy?
Yeah,
it was a comedy. Yeah, that one was hilarious.
It's great. It's so like, and it's based off of a comic book too, a lesser known one. But yeah, it's misfit superheroes, and it's great.
Like Suicide Squad.
Yeah, except better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the premise of Suicide Squad, but just better.
So if anybody wants to like watch that one, like that's a great one. Pull up and watch.
Okay, we're gonna close out. We've kind of gone overboard a little bit, but what's next? I'm seeing Detective Pikachu tomorrow. Emily,
you're gonna love it.
You've already seen it. So
I love it.
are you excited for?
I kind of want to see it, but I'm more excited for John Wick 3. That's honestly my cup of tea.
I'm going to see the screener on Tuesday of John Wick, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I watched John Wick 2 to get all caught up and just like freshened on it. So when I go and watch it, I'm just like,
I might have to take a day on Tuesday and just watch 1 and 2 again, because number 1, I love the trailer for 3 because it pokes fun at the series. Because have you seen the latest trailer?
I think so.
I go to see so many movies that I end up seeing everything for the trailer. But the lady, she makes the jokes, all this over a dead dog.
Yeah, that's been the running joke the whole thing, like the whole thing.
Exactly, it's like fourth wall breaking. He's like, it's not just a dog. So I'm excited. John Wick's become one of my favorite franchises right now. Keanu Reeves killing it. So I'm excited. So next week you'll see us. I believe my Uncle Dave is going to be coming in. He'll be hosting with us next week as well. So we'll talk about John Wick 3, Detective Pikachu, and then whatever else we got. We're gonna watch a lot of movies. So thank you, Emily, for filling in the host stand. You did a great job today.
Oh, thank you.
And Lenny, I appreciate you coming on, talking some movies, getting to know you a little bit better.
For sure. And
how do the people find you?
Instagram, Facebook. If you want to watch what I've been making, there's a YouTube channel, Zealot Film, XELOT Film. There's also on Amazon, you can look up WROL. Easiest way is Instagram.
Cool.
Lenni Uitto, LENNI
Perfect. And Tambi, are you set up for the closeout? I think she forgot about it. Emily, while she does that, how do we find you on
it's Emily Fox SLC. On Instagram, it's Emily Fox _SLC.
Cool. And then you can find me on Instagram and Twitter on Mr_Clarkster. And then you can find the official Facebook page at The Movie Hour and the Instagram page at The Movie Hour. It's pretty simple. And be sure, if you're listening to us on iTunes, I would appreciate if you left us a review with 5 stars and write us and tell us a really nice note in the review section. So, Tambi, if you have that prepared, I would love for you to hit. There it is. Thank you guys so much, and see you next week.
See you guys.